The Garden of Eden. It is widely acknowledged by religious historians that the so-called Garden of Eden depicted in the book of Genesis in the Old Testament was based on an Iranian model. The figures appearing in the story, man, woman, serpent, God, and the idea of a garden as the idolized map of the earth are all of Iranian origin. The Jews became familiar with these images during the Babylonian captivity, from which they were liberated by the Persian Emperor Cyrus Koresh the Great in 539 BCE. How is the Garden of Eden described in the book of Genesis? We find it in chapter 2 of that book, where we read 8. And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. 9. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also is the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. 10. And a river went out of Eden to the water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became four heads. The division of a garden into four parts, divided by four irrigation channels, is the most basic design of a Persian garden, technically referred to as Shaharbagh, or a four-part garden. In the Septuagint, or the Greek version of the Old Testament, the garden is called, that is, paradise. This is a word first used in Greek by Xenophon, who wrote a study of Cyrus the Great, the Cyropedia. The Persian garden is not only a mirror of the heavenly realm, it is also a ritual gateway between this world and the world of heaven. In the ruins of many of the ancient cities and their royal ceremonial centers, we find the remains of many of the most ancient gardens in the Iranian world. Ancient cities such as Persepolis, Pasargad, Ektabana, and Darabgerd, and many other ancient Iranian cities which can be researched. Many were well planned and laid out. Sometimes they were even circular in design. The gardens offered the same thing as our parks and green belts do today. Elaborate design is the service of urban living and ceremonial spaces with the passion of the ancient Iranians. One of the seven wonders of the world was the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. This complex was built by the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II to please his Median wife, Amytis, who was longing for the atmospheres of her homeland. In order that she not become too homesick, the garden complex was designed and built. Archaeological evidence seems to suggest that these gardens were actually in Nineveh, but it would seem that the practice of elaborate gardens was imported to Mesopotamia from the Iranian world. The basic Persian garden design went on to find a home in later Islamic culture, though which it spread from India to Spain.